fight for liberty, the time of hardness always comes. Because someone is always impatient to take your liberty away. And that's when you have to decide. It's all well and good to decide, oh, I love America because I was able to become wealthy. I love America because I was able to have 2 houses and a nice car. I love America because my business flourished. I started from nothing and I am now a successful business person. I love America. What about the time when that love of liberty means you give all of that up, risk all of that, lay all of that on the line, pledge your life and your fortune and your sacred honor so that your children will still be free? Will you stand up then? Will you stand forward then? Will you take the risk then that we have sent our men and women to battlefields around the world to secure for others? For the time has come now when we shall have to stand up and decide that here, in this place, in our land, we must fight for it again. Are you willing to do so? I'll tell you, the reason I'm here is because I believe that that is the battle we are in. And I ask you, can you imagine Trey Grayson raising the standard and come what may, standing on that line of battle until the victory is won? Can you imagine Rand Paul running forward and standing on that line until the victory is won? I could not see it. I cannot imagine it. But I can imagine this man, because he's already stood on the line for this country's survival. And he knows what it will take. So if we care about America, then we need to care enough to understand that the key practical principle of our republic, of representative government, was just that, representation. And representation means 2 things. It means, first of all, that there's got to be something to represent. We forget that, don't we? You see, represent means that there's something that has to be presented again, right? But it has to exist in the first place. If we don't stand for anything, if we don't care about anything, if we aren't willing to put forward our clear faith, our clear conviction, and to hold it up, and in our votes, and in our work, and in our striving, if we're not willing to present the truth, to present the justice, to present the liberty and the heart and love we have for it, then it can't be represented by anybody. Not in the State House, not in the Capitol, not in Washington, not anywhere. It must first be in our hearts, in our lives, and in our actions, or our representatives will represent nothing because we do. That is the first principle of representation. And the second is that when we look for people to represent us, they got to represent us. They've got to represent our heart, represent our courage, represent our loyalty, represent our faith, represent our love of our children, whom we will not sacrifice for the sake of our selfish pleasures, represent the love of our country that we will not destroy for the sake of our momentary whims. And if we are such people, and we have such faith, and we have such love, and we have such courage, then when we hear it and see it and sense it in the heart and word and life of another who stands forward to carry our banner, we know that he will carry it well. But I don't know, see, because we've let our elections be decided over so many years now by slick commercials that say nothing. And television. You saw television and say, well, so-and-so has $1 million in the bank. I've been noticing this about some of the people in the race here in Kentucky. Their biggest boast isn't that they're going to stand for the Constitution, stand for loyalty, stand for liberty, stand in defense of innocent life, stand for the security of the private sector. They're not. No, their biggest boast is, I got $1 million and I have more coming in. And then the pundits will say, well, so-and-so's got the money. And so-and-so's got the money. They're the competitors. They're the ones who can win. And down the road a piece, they'll say, well, so-and-so's got this and that. He's the winner. Has it ever occurred to you? 2 things. 1, there are people who come and say, well, we got to vote for the winner. We can't vote. I know you like this guy over here, and I know he's standing for everything you believe, and I know that's your conviction, but he can't win. He's not the winner. This one over here is the winner. Because he's got the money, and he's got the backing, and he's got... I heard that on TV last night, so there you go. See? Has it ever occurred to us that if, before the election takes place, we can vote for the winner, that means that the winner was decided without our vote. Don't we get that yet? Can we go through that share that simple logic with their friends? If they know who the winner is before the election has taken place, that means that the winner was decided without their vote. And that our vote actually counts for nothing. Well, the only way that is true is if you go ahead and vote for that winner, instead of voting for the person that you think is going to do the job of defending your liberty, representing your heart, and taking care of the future of your country. And then they want us to believe. All these folks like the round folks running around saying, I got the money, vote for me because I can do it, I've got the money. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, the first question people ought to be asking about that is who gave him that money? I want to know that. See? And the reason I want to know it is because if you decide to give somebody your vote because somebody on television told you about how much money they had in their political war chest, then you haven't decided the election. The people who put that money in the war chest decided it. And all of a sudden, we don't have government of the people, by the people, for the people. We have government of the money, by the money, and for the money. That's the very form of government that, thank God, our founders intended us never to have. And I'm not disparaging the making of money or the enjoyment of wealth or anything like it. Our country's been built on people who had a decent and honest aspiration to do well. But I will disparage those who believe that that decent and honest aspiration should take the place of our love of liberty, should take the place of the courage we need to defend it, should take the place of the Constitution that secures it. Money will never do those things. Only we can do those things if we are willing to vote for the truth and vote for the right. And so, I think that's why we've gathered here. This was a rally about the Constitution and this wonderful flag of ours. But you see, this wonderful flag wasn't so wonderful at one time. We must remember this, you know. There was a time when if you were sailing the high seas and you saw the flag of the United States of America, that flag did not mean liberty, because it was more than likely to be flying on a slave ship. Carrying people into bondage. It took a lot of faith and a lot of courage and a lot of conscience on all sides. It took a lot of blood and a lot of prayer and a lot of willingness finally to recognize the will and judgment of the Almighty. To take that flag that once stood for bondage and turn it into the flag that lifted the hearts of people as decent, honest Americans showed up to drive out the Nazis and drive out the Huns and drive out the oppressors and drive out the conquerors and restore people to their own liberty. That they did it. And today, sadly, there are those who want again to turn that flag into a symbol of a culture of death that will kill the young and kill the old and disregard the dignity and rights of anyone so long as you get the money and get the power and get the results you claim the world needs. But we can work now, as they did, to make sure that it will continue to wave and continue to stand for the land of freedom and the home of a courage that is dedicated to life and to liberty and to reverence for the right that has been determined by Almighty God. And I think that's what this is about. See, we come together and we think, okay, we're going through another election and we have the hoopla and we have the rallies and we have the this. But part of what I was thinking about today as I reflected on Bill Johnson, what a nice guy he is, he's been in some not so nice situations though. And I bet he still carries them in his mind and heart. He's seen some things that have required that you gut it up and get through it, even though it's ugly and dark.